Happy Sunday, Wizards fans. This is American Express Home Court Advantage. It's the final one of the regular season. Jamoke Davis here with Haley Milan. I'm looking forward to a good game. The final game at home, Fan Appreciation Day. The Wizards
Don't be
taking
so
on the top
sad.
seed in the
Come
Hawks.
on.
I am. Hey,
They're in the
Haley,
playoffs.
Haley,
I know, I'm going to miss you
We've been together
too.
40 games.
I know.
41.
But they're going to make a nice long playoff run. Just one last regular season game to get through against the Hawks tonight. Fan Appreciation Night.
I like the hat too.
Yeah, thank you. Just because it's Fan Appreciation Night, I'm wearing some team swag. And if you hustle out to Verizon Center, you will get one of these awesome water bottles.
Is this considered swag? Or just
that's swag stuff.
utensil?
Swag is stuff we all get.
Swag,
It's
all right.
just free, awesome stuff.
Okay.
And make sure you stay hydrated for this game. Presented by Verizon, we are staying hydrated on set because we have so much to get to tonight. But first, we have to get to our Twitter question because we need your input. So we want you to tweet using hashtag AMEX Wizards and tell us who you've been most impressed with this regular season and why. Again, that's hashtag AMEX Wizards, and we're going to chat about the Twitter question a little later in the show. So,
and I'm giving mine away a little bit because I feel like everybody's going to pick Wall. Some people have already seen your tweets. They picked Wall.
Don't hate.
Well, no, not
Go
hate.
for the stand.
It's just
I like the standout.
I knew everybody's going to pick Wall. That's true. So I wanted to say that I'm going to pick that next player after Wall because Wall has definitely been amazing this season.
Yeah. But he's going to keep us in suspense and not tell us. So you got to watch the rest of the show because I know you're all dying to know what he's going to say. But the Wizards were on a 4-game winning streak and they were stopped by Saturday night against Brooklyn. John Wall rested against Philly. The team did just fine without him. He had made 208 consecutive appearances, and then coach rested him again against Brooklyn. Things didn't go so well, but let's talk about that game against Philly. Beal had a team-high 24 points, and after missing the first 5 shots, he locked in and hit 6 straight, just went off. And the offense moved the ball so well, made tons of opportunities, making way for production coming from Ramon Sessions, who had 19 points, Marcin Gortat, who had 18. The team never trailed, and the defense held Philly to 34.8% from the floor. What did you see from that game that bodes well for the Wizards in the playoffs?
So I think what you'd like to see is I actually feel like Wall not playing, the bench had to step up as starters, and that's what you saw out of Ramon Sessions. But can we really be excited about what happened in that Philly game when what followed in that Brooklyn game? But hey, let's not get too into it. Wall resting, yes, that was a big thing, but hey, they shot a ridiculous 72% from the field in the first half. A franchise best 65.3 from the field. As you mentioned, Gortat played well. Number 3 was 3 for 3 from 3. I think 7 players in double figures. They tied a season high with 35 assists, showed them really sharing the ball. Sessions and Bynum, Spell, Wall combined for 14 assists, which was very good as well. And the bench, really stepped up. All players were on the plus side of the plus minus, and that's what you like. And I really would like to say that they're clicking. Will Bynum there with the big shot. I'd like to say that they were clicking, but then they followed it with the Brooklyn game, which was not very good. And you wanted to see more out of the Wizards, that they're moving in the right direction. And unfortunately, when you go to that next game, it wasn't good. But I think I was excited just to see them. You never know when Wall's out. That changes the dynamic. And to have Sessions step in, Otto Porter has been stepping in for Pierce and played well. That is the kind of thing that bodes well for those players to be more comfortable with the Washington Wizards when they go into the playoffs, when Coach Whitman, which I'm going to talk about soon, is going to be asking for them to step up.
And while they did well against Philly with Wall coaching from the bench, which he may not have enjoyed.
He's going to be a coach someday.
So tough.
I'm predicting that Wall will be a coach. He kind of already is.
Although he looked a little complacent. He was just itching to be out there on the floor running the place. But what do you think that says about Wall's presence for things to be so unpredictable when he's not on the court?
I think what it says is that we know that Wall is not just the leader or the MVP of this team, but they go as he goes. And, yes, he can fill it up, but I think realistically, it's about the assists. When Wall gets the whole team involved, that's when the team plays better. And in this game, you have Sessions and Bynum, and all the teams sharing the ball, but Sessions and Bynum with 14 assists. Out of those 35 assists, the entire team was pushing the ball. They were playing as a team. They were communicating, and I think that's very important for the Wizards moving forward.
All right, so Wall is definitely an important piece to the puzzle. So after all the games this weekend, if the playoffs were to start today, the Wizards would be the 5th seed, making their matchup in Chicago against the Bulls a rematch of last year's first round. Yeah, definitely. And what bodes well for the Wizards is the last 2 times they were in the playoffs as the 5th seed, they made it past the first round. Now, one other possible matchup would be the Raptors. Now, what do you think about these 2 possible opponents?
So, and actually, in Wizards Magazine interview that you'll see that I did with Wall and Beal that's coming up this Friday on Monumental Network, I thought that maybe they would say it would be kind of interesting or different to play Toronto, but I think having Chicago, if it does come to them playing the Chicago Bulls, it's a good thing in that last year they caught a lot of teams and the media by surprise. Jeremy Hyman, shout out to him. You'll hear from him later, and Dan Nolan. Last year he noticed that several of the pundits picked the Bulls to beat the Wizards, and it just became a surprise that the Wizards came out and stole that series. But now they can show they didn't steal anything. Whether Rose was playing or not, now they have a chance to really prove that they can beat the Chicago Bulls no matter what.
Right.
And I think that, yes, this season as well, Chicago Bulls, that as a team, they understand what they are going to get out of the Wizards, how they're going to be physical. Nene played very well, but he had some controversy as well with him and Jimmy Butler getting into it. But this is going to be a big rivalry. And when you talk about people saying how happy and excited they are to see the Western Conference matchup, this is a matchup that I want to see in the East.
Really?
And I'm really going to be excited to see what they do against the Bulls. It'd be cool to have home court advantage. It will be if they could flip-flop. But either way, I like that they're playing Chicago. It's going to be a fun series.
Well, the magic number is 1 for the Bulls to secure, or the Raptors to secure, home court advantage during the first round. Now, how big of a deal do you think that is for home court advantage?
I think it does prove to be a big deal. I think in this series, the fact that the Bulls and Wizards were even, I think they can win on either court, but I feel like that would be the one difference that I know the Wizards wish that they could have. If they had won that Brooklyn game, who knows? We may be saying something different. But the fact that they have to go back to Chicago, maybe from a positive standpoint, that's the role that they like. Backs against the wall. Nobody is expecting them to win, especially all of the hype with Derrick Rose coming back. Now you're going to get a series where the Wizards, they know how to win a game like this because they've been in this situation before. And let's hope that they can, in their mind, when we fly up to Chicago, that they're going to be remembering everything they did right to win the Chicago series the first go-round last year.
Right. Now, if they make it past the first round, they could face the Atlanta Hawks again, who are one of the 3 remaining opponents for them this regular season. Again, they have to face the Cavs and the Pacers on the road. The Pacers may be a playoff team. The Cavs the number 2 seed. So they still have 3 pretty good opponents left this regular season, and they got to face the Atlanta Hawks tonight. Now, there may not be a big playoff implication tonight with the Hawks sitting all of their starters.
All of them.
Yeah. They're still facing the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, the Atlanta Hawks. So before we get too far into the playoff picture, let's hear from head coach Randy Whitman on what he has to say about his squad facing the Hawks.
You guys talked at the beginning of the year the importance of playing better at home this year, and obviously it's been an improvement. Just talk about what's been key for you guys and how that's affected.
Yeah, I think it's been a focus, number one, obviously. We embarked upon that, talking about that last year, improving that coming into this year. And, I think it's just been a better focus, obviously, of coming in here. So, this being the last one, obviously it'd be good to get this last one, not only for our guys, but fans. This is they've been behind us the last 2 years, and this would be a good opportunity to go out on a good note.
This franchise hasn't won more than 45 games since 1979. Would getting to that mark mean anything to you guys as a team?
No, not really. No. We'd like to obviously feel like we've left some out there, but I think anybody at this point in the season can say that. So it's just continue to put our head down, play good basketball together coming down the stretch here, and hopefully we can do that.
What do you guys need to do on the defensive end against this style of team?
This
plays?
is we got to be all on the same page. Communication is going to be huge tonight in terms of our coverages, and they have the ability to spread the floor, which they do a good job of. They do a good job of player movement, ball movement. We're going to have to, come out and be, right away, right on our toes in terms of pressure is going to be big for us, and then pick and roll defense.
All right, that was head coach Randy Whitman talking about the Wizards facing the Hawks. And this is Kevin Groovy, former Kentucky Wildcat. We got to acknowledge that.
Okay.
But former Bullet. He was with the Bullets from 1975 to 1983, and you won a championship with them. So we need your postseason expertise to break down where the Wizards are right now and tonight's matchup against the Hawks. So thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thank you very much. Great to be here.
And our Twitter question that we are asking the fans tonight: who has most impressed you guys? Use hashtag AMEX Wizards and tell us which Wizards player most impressed you this season. And Kevin, maybe you can tell us a little later in the show who most impressed you in the Wizards season. But first, I want to know about watching Kentucky. They weren't able to complete their perfect season, but still a historic run.
It was
for
so
your
sad.
Yeah.
I was rooting
It was.
What were
It
your
was.
thoughts on the season?
Let's start this little segment on a real downer, okay?
I'm sorry, had to ask.
I've been in mourning ever since they lost. It was such a great year,
Yeah.
and I really thought they would win. I did, and once they got to the Final Four and they were able to get past Notre Dame in a very difficult game, you don't win a championship unless you have a couple games like that. But Wisconsin was the perfect storm
Frank
against
the Tank.
Kentucky. Yeah. They slowed it down, and they just weren't able to do it. But, I think, if Kentucky can't win with that team, and Coach Cal assembled an unbelievable team, when are they going to win it again, But they did win in 2012, so I'm holding out hope. Thanks.
Right. Yeah, really, what does it take?
I mean, it's just amazing, but I know with Anthony Davis, they did win the championship.
Yes.
But I expected them, to
I
do
did
more.
too.
But let's talk about bringing a championship to Washington, D.C. We know that at least we've asked most of the alumni who play on that team to regale their stories of what it was like to win the championship. The question I have is, the Bulls will have home court advantage. The Wizards play on the road. The Bullets won the ultimate road game in a Game 7
That's right.
to win it all. What was that mindset like, getting on the plane, knowing that the entire arena would be going against the Bullets and to go in and win it?
I don't think you win on a Game 7 in a championship series unless you have some real mental tough guys. And man, we had a lot of wonderful attributes on that 78 team, but the one thing we did have with Wes and Elvin and Bobby Dandridge, and then that bench with Kupchak and Greg Ballard, Larry Wright, every guy on that team was tough, mentally tough and physically tough. And so we weren't going to be denied or concerned about having a road game. In fact, every series in that championship run, we didn't have the home court advantage except for the first one, Atlanta. And we were able to win in a mini series there. But it's great memories. I'm glad we brought that up because every day, and especially when you're down, you think championship 78. And those teammates are so important to me, and that win gets me even more important all the time.
I was hoping you were going to wear your ring.
I should have, I should have
where's
worn
the
it.
ring?
I wear it every now and then.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have you on the show again. Maybe I was going to wear my replica one, and I couldn't find it today, and I was so bummed out. We did our replica rings last year,
that's neat.
and I couldn't find it. I was
neat.
so bummed out. But
Next show.
Okay,
Hopefully
next
we'll
show,
have
next
many
show.
more shows as
Yeah.
the Wizards will tentatively make a deep playoff run.
Of course, I
Now,
think they will.
you are a business owner, Gravy's, in the Fairfax-Merrifield area, sports bar and grill. It was
Thank
probably
you.
a busy time of year for you. March Madness, I'm sure you had a
was.
ton of people come out to watch the games. What made you get into that line of business?
Well, back when I played, you didn't make millions of dollars like these guys are making today. So you had to
That's
think
gotta hurt.
beyond basketball,
Right.
just a little bit. But Mike Reardon, who was a real mentor of mine and who played here in Washington, he was 8 years older than me. I helped him start his restaurant in Annapolis. And I said, man, I want to do something like that. So that got me thinking about it. And career after basketball, I was not quite sure if I wanted to go into coaching, so I did the restaurant. And 34 years later, I'm still in the restaurant business. So I'm really excited that we've had a good run. Yes, I would have never had that restaurant if it wasn't for getting drafted and playing here in Washington and having a long career here with the Bullets.
Right.
And you know, it's interesting you bring up players that you played with. And I imagine in many ways they're like an extension of your family.
They really
you know?
are.
And so with this team, how do you build that camaraderie, especially when you look at someone like Paul Pierce, who is, you know, a world champion on another team, you bring him into this team. How do you work your way in that? And by the end of the season where we are now, do you need to be more of a family unit by then?
That is a great question. It's a question that I think every team asks themselves start of the season. That's a challenge a coach has today. Back when I played, we didn't have free agency, so when you were drafted by that team, you stayed with that team 4, 5, 6, 7 years. So you were able to get that chemistry over a period of time. Now you got to find lightning in a bottle, and it's hard to do. So it really is a challenge for a team. But this Wizard team has been built for the playoffs. Ernie Grunfeld didn't build this team to win 55, 60 games. Or 65. That's not where the bar is set for them. They have built it for the playoffs. Obviously, everything evolves around John Wall and how he pushes that ball up the floor. He sets the tone for the defense. If they're going to make a run in the playoffs, they're going to have to do the little things. They're going to have to rebound. They're going to have to play great defense. They can't turn a ball over. They're going to have to do things that will show up in the stat sheets maybe in a W, but not necessarily in the stats. And that's helping one another and be one, be whole. This team's good enough to beat anybody, but they're also possible to lose against anybody. And that's the frustration we have with this ball club. But I think they're going to make a good run based on the confidence that they had last year, you know, and almost beating Indiana, you know, and they played great on the road. And that's probably what they're going to have to do, like the old championship team. Going to have to win on the road.
Which if you have one more question, I got one thing to say. You know that they celebrated a certain championship in Golden State where a certain team was swept. So I just want the Wizards fans to know out there, the hope is if they get back to the NBA Finals, they can avenge that championship sweep to the Golden State Warriors. That's what I'm hoping will come to play. Then we can have you back on the show and, you know, talk about that a little
thanks.
bit.
You know, I don't think we won a championship in '78 if we hadn't been swept. You know, because a lot of that core group was there when that team was swept in '75.
That's right.
All right, so if you had to pick one player who's impressed you for the Wizards, who would it have been this season?
I'm going to tell you, it's obvious. I think John Wall is the MVP, but I think the most important player on this team is Humphries. Okay. He was out for 17 games. He's a dirty work guy. You got to have a role guy who's willing to get down in the trenches. Take somebody's head off. They go to the basket. Get a rebound. It has to be a tough rebound. He's that one guy that can do that, and he can also make shots. I really like him coming off the bench.
Well, I thought you were going to say John Wall because he's a fellow Kentucky guy.
Of course, I love John Wall.
Now, poor guy, he's been sitting on the bench.
We need a couple more Kentucky guys here.
There's a little plug for the Wildcats. Now, he's been sitting on the bench for the past couple games, experiencing the role of coach, really. So we got the chance earlier today to catch up with him after shoot-around. He was questionable all day, and we talked to him about what it was like playing coach. So, Kevin, thank you so much for being here. And here's John Wall.
Thank you.
Try to talk to those guys as much as possible during timeouts, or even when somebody's shooting a free throw. I have an opportunity to just talk to them what they're seeing. It's kind of great to see that Coach Howard wanted me to take notes of seeing what play we could have ran in certain situations, or what are we doing wrong, or in this moment, a period of time to get us to have lapses of not scoring or not being a great defensive team. Knowing that we have opportunity to try to win one game and not let them sweep us 4-0, and then put some doubt in that, put some thought in their mind that we can beat them, no matter who they play. You know what I mean? They play all their guys or not. It's an opportunity to know that you beat a team and know you can play well. You know what I mean? Against those guys, and get them a lot of credit. They play well against us. So we average 18 or more turnovers, and we haven't been ourselves for most of 3 quarters of each game. We only probably played one good quarter.
right, we were just joined by Kevin Greavy, and that was John Wall, a fellow Wildcat, talking about playing coach for the past couple of games. And if you're just joining us, welcome. If you're here in the bowl, come up to section 422, 423, get behind our set, and get yourselves on the show. And also, make sure you're tweeting. We need to hear from you as the regular season is winding down. We want to know, who has, so sad. Jamoke needs to cry on someone's shoulder. I'm assuming that's going to be me after the show.
Yes.
Anyway, tell us which Wizard has most impressed you, and use hashtag AMEX Wizards, and we're going to get to your responses in just a little bit. But first, let's talk about this matchup tonight against the Atlanta Hawks. This is the final of 4 meetings between these two teams. Atlanta has taken the 3 previous meetings by a combined 44 points. Now, the Hawks are sitting pretty. They locked up the top spot in the Eastern Conference. They are 60-19. They have set a franchise record for wins this year. They secured home court advantage throughout the playoffs, but big news, here's the silver bullet. The Wizards aren't actually facing the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks are sitting their starters. Yeah. So what's the game plan going to be for the Wizards?
You know what? You got to just stick with the game
mystery,
plan.
really.
There was a part of me that was just going to be like this, but nope. I'm gonna smooth it out. I'm still going to talk about the same things.
Okay.
The key will be control the pace, take care of the ball, and play inside out. That's what the Wizards have to do, because if nothing else, they're playing for the playoffs. They got to keep their game plan going. Get those big guys going early. That's what they got to do in transition. The bigs running the floor, cutting to the basket. I think that's going to be key right there. Kevin Greavy talked about having those other big guys, Kevin Seraphin and Chris Humphreys going. That'll be great as well. Move the ball, make the extra pass, get the ball on the weak side for open shots, which will be good. But, we know everything stands with whatever John Wall does. He's the guy who runs the team. You want to see him go well, whether he's playing tonight or not. The bottom line is we need the guards to kind of hit it from 3, hit it from long range. There you see Drew Gooden doing it as well. But I think that's going to be the key, because the Wizards, their bread and butter is in the paint and hitting those 15-foot jumpers. What you want to see out of them now is kind of getting the groove. We talked about how well they shot in that Philly game, 72% from the field in that first half, but they got to hit from that long range, especially against a team like the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah, we may not be seeing their starters, but the Hawks have won 4 in a row, including 3 by at least 24 points, so they're bound to pose a threat. They've shot 52.3% from the field during that span. Now, luckily for the Wizards, they don't have to face Kyle Korver, who leads the league in three-point shooting percentage at 49.4%. However, let's take a look at their starting 5. Oh, and welcome to our fans who are here to cheer on the Wizards.
They're really excited.
They're pumped to be here. We're glad to have you guys. What's up?
Thanks for coming.
All right, awesome. So, Dennis Schroeder, John Jenkins. Please don't sing the song, John.
Okay. I don't know. Okay.
Kent Bazemore, Mike Muscala, who is building nicely for Paul Millsap, averaging 14 points on 19 of 23 shooting in 3 straight starts. And then Elton Brand and Kent Bazemore. So what are the Wizards going to see from this new starting 5? Now, we got to mention, last time the Hawks sat their starters, they lost by 15. So good sign for the Wizards. What is your prediction with what this Hawks team is going to bring to the court tonight?
I will predict a win by the Washington Wizards. I think it'd be good for them to have that on fan appreciation night, of course, right? Yes, we want to predict a win. But what they're going to have to do is they got to work on stopping dribble penetration. Extend that perimeter defense is definitely going to be key as well, and limiting the Hawks to 1 shot. 1 shot. That's all they get. And then back down the other end to score. That's what's going to be key. And I think the reasons for that is because the Hawks are really good at sharing the ball. It doesn't matter who's playing when it comes to what the Wizards need to find a way to do the good things right. Because what it means is when Coach Whitman talked about finding players that he can trust when it comes down to the playoffs, this is a type of game that you don't want to take it easy. You don't care who's out there on the court. You've got to play your game. And I think with the Hawks, yes, they can shoot well from deep. You don't want to see them be able to do that tonight. And especially, this is a type of game coming off of that Brooklyn game that you kind of get the fans settled back down again. Because I know that coming off of that Philly game, you're getting really happy and you thought they were going to do something against the Brooklyn Nets, riding high, and it went down. So let's pick it back up. It's fan appreciation night. Let's get a good game. Let's get some highlights. But I'd like to see the bench be able to play well too. Greavy talked about Chris Humphreys.
Yeah.
You want to see him play well. You want to see Kevin Seraphin take advantage of the fact that the starters are not in the game because, hey, we're really, really at this point starting to position yourselves in terms of the rotation. Whitman's trying to figure out who he wants to play and in what spots and what time of the game.
Yeah. All right, so hopefully the Wizards will get a win for their fans on Fan Appreciation Night. We have fans filing in, checking out American Express home court advantage in our set. But earlier today, Dan and Jeremy previewed this matchup with Home Court Preview, so here's what they had to say.
All right, thanks, Haley and Jamoke. That's right, it's Jeremy Hyman and Dan Nolan here. We're previewing tonight's matchup as well as what's coming up over the next couple of days. The regular season almost over, Jeremy, but to get caught up on this playoff picture that once was so complicated now looks a little more clear.
Yeah, it looks like the Wizards are going to be the 5 seed, which is where they've been for a while, but they made a little bit of noise on that 4-game winning streak. Got within a game of Toronto and Chicago. Now they're 2.5 back of Chicago. They can't catch Toronto anymore. They'd have to win out. Chicago would have to lose their last 2 for them to jump ahead of Chicago. Obviously, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. So now we know these last 3 games, it's about getting ready for the playoffs because now we know we're just about locked into that 5 seed.
And you mentioned those games. Obviously, we're previewing the game tonight a lot here on American Express home court advantage. But the 2 games after that, both on the road, in Indianapolis, in Cleveland, 2 teams that are battling for playoff positioning themselves.
Yeah, that's those are going to be tough games. Again, we don't know who's going to play on which teams. It's right now, we know Cleveland's resting all their starters today against Boston. What are they going to do in the last game? What are the Wizards going to do in the last game? We don't really know. The game in Indianapolis, that one, we know the Pacers are going to be playing for a playoff spot. They're only a game out. They're going to be playing hard. That'll be a good test. I think if the Wizards want, that could be the one where you kind of play all your guys to get, because you know that's going to be a tough environment. That's going to be a tough game. You can kind of, that could sort of be your last sort of get everyone going. You don't really want to play everyone a lot on the back-to-back, so the Cleveland game might be one more where we see a lot of reserves. The one in Indiana might be one where we see kind of both teams give it their all.
And so put on your head coach hat real quick. Pretend you're Randy Whitman. You've got 3 games remaining. What do you want to see from this team more than anything else? Is it getting healthy? Is there a particular style of play you want to see?
I think it's just you want to see what the team they're capable of being and the team that you're going to see in the playoffs. It's right now there's not a lot of time for tweaking this or that. It's getting ready for playoff time, and that's what it's all about now. So if I'm the head coach, I want to see what rotations are going to work best right now, who's playing the best, who's hot, who am I going to ride, because this is the time to show what are we going to see in the playoffs. So this is the time to show what you can do.
Hard to believe 79 games into the season that it's actually playoff time, less than a week away. For Jeremy Hyman, I'm Dan Nolan. Send it back to you guys.
Playoff time less than a week away. That was Dan and Jeremy talking about tonight's matchup and possible playoff matchups, and looking a little deeper into the playoff picture for the Wizards now. Don't be too sad, Jamoke, because we have half-hour shows for American Express home court advantage planned for the playoffs. So you will get plenty of action here.
That's right.
Yeah. So every home game, we will be here half an hour before, 45 minutes before every home game.
That's right.
We're going to have a ton of time together.
And with special guests on the show as well.
Yeah, so you're going to get special breakdowns and analysis from special guest Wizards alumni. You never know what surprises we're going to have up our sleeves.
Right.
But you got to keep tweeting using hashtag AMEX Wizards. And great job tweeting today. We appreciate your responses. Our hashtag AMEX Wizard Twitter question was, who has most impressed you throughout the regular season and why? And we got a ton of good responses. And Jamoke said his response isn't going to include John Wall, which makes sense because John Wall has just been so impressive throughout most of the season. But let's get to some responses from our fans. Okay, so Aussie Logic, I don't know if that means like Australian, but Aussie Logic.
Logic.
Okay. Says John Wall for the simple reason that he is an assist machine. Oh, watch out. I think Quartat has the word machine trademarked as
he does.
his nickname.
He
Watch
does.
out, Aussie Logic. Hashtag AMEX Wizards, but yeah, he is an assist machine. He just dishes them out.
Okay,
left and right.
the most impressive Twitter handle at Nintendo DS. I like it. Hashtag Amex Wizards. Chris Humphreys, because of his mid-range game and the energy he brings on a consistent basis. I like it.
All right, Chris Humphreys and at Ariel Monique says, I have been most impressed with Otto Porter. He has been making some major plays lately. Hashtag AMEX Wizards. That's right. He really did step up and have some serious offensive production for the Wizards. So Otto Porter's a good answer. I'm going to go with Otto Porter
That's
just
who you're
because of
going with?
just because of
Okay.
his most recent run.
Okay.
Who are you going to pick?
I am picking the Polish Machine,
Oh,
Marcin
man.
Gortat. And of course, the caveat is that I said it was
Not John
Wall is number one. But I think the fact that, Marcin going into this offseason, was he going to be signed again by the Wizards? What kind of Marcin were you going to see? He's played very well this entire season. He and John Wall have connected together more than any other combination on the team. The way that they have worked so well when he's cutting to the basket. He has a mid-range jumper similar to Chris Humphries. But I think when you have players, when they get that new contract, sometimes you don't know what you're going to get. He has 21 double-doubles this season. He's been a solid center for the Washington Wizards, and I look forward to seeing more of that in the playoffs from Marcin Gortat, the Polish Machine.
All right, Polish Hammer, Polish Machine. I think we decided we liked Polish Machine best, but yeah.
It's better, Polish Machine. I just like it better than Hammer, although I like when he does this. I do like that.
Yeah.
But he said his nickname has always been Polish Machine, so we're going to kind of keep pushing that and hope that's
good response. He is such a dynamic player, and that ability to hit those mid-range jumpers, just step up, and still be a huge presence on the interior. Gortat is a good answer. So, all right, I like it. I like it. So, the Wizards, their regular season is not over after
taking
tonight.
a deep breath.
Still got to face
last home game.
They really have to face 3 playoff teams left. This Atlanta Hawks team, not going to see their starters, but they're still the Atlanta Hawks, who are the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, and then they got to face the Pacers and the Cavs, the number 2 seed. So still a lot left on this regular season schedule, but playoffs coming up.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm going to be traveling with the team on the road trip, so hopefully I'll get some wins, and they'll be like, okay, you got to make. I'm always on the road.
Yeah, you're lucky.
If they win, I'll be happy to stay on the road.
Don't jinx yourself. Man.
Okay, all right,
All right.
I won't. All right, that'll do it for American Express Home Court Advantage. We have come to the end of the regular season for this show. We made it. Our 41st show.
We
cheers.
Did. All right, cheers to that with our awesome water bottles.
Hey, thank you very much, fans, for joining us and supporting us. We really appreciate it. A special shout out to Brenna Kramer, who has been with us. A lot of tweets on the show. She's done a great job being here with us. We really like it, but we don't know what we're doing for the playoffs. We don't know what games. We don't know what dates, but we'll be here.
Mystery.
45 minutes before tip-off to give you what you need to do to be ready for the Wizards as they compete in the first round of playoffs against Chicago, or maybe Toronto, most likely Chicago. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. For Haley Milan, I'm Jamoke Davis. See you when the playoffs begin in like a week or so. Ciao for now.